Belle was my Disney princess. So it was like, that's the dream, is to have an ugly boyfriend who builds you a library. Hi, I'm Lucy Dacus. I'm at the V&A for Unexpected Item. I'm here to look at items that have to do with stages of life and rituals. Got childhood, I want to touch it. Performance, I love it. Marriage, wow. And death. They feel a little haunted.
So this is a doll's house. It was made in England in 1885.
It's so cool. I like the fireplace. Oh my God. This reminds me of a dollhouse that my grandma had, actually. I want to touch it.
You can.
Oh, why is it so cute? As a kid, my favorite thing to do was to gather up like a little bucket of books and snacks and pens, and I'd throw the rope over like a tree branch and then pull it, and I would climb the tree, and then I had my little bucket and I'd sit in the tree for like a really long time. I was obsessed with Build-A-Bear. Did you have that here? They had sweepstakes at Build-A-Bear where you could apply, and if you won, you could go around the store for 1 minute and take anything you wanted. And I used to go with my mom and I'd practice, because I was like, this is gonna happen to me. Never happened to me. My dad would read me the Anne of Green Gables books. And there was a very pivotal moment where I told him, like, Dad, I don't think I need you to read to me anymore. And I think that kind of broke his heart. We're cool. I was so obsessed with reading as a kid. Belle was my Disney princess. So it was like, that's the dream, is to have an ugly boyfriend who builds you a library. Ah, cute. Tiny book. I had some of these.
What tiny books did you have?
We're really going back into the archives. Rumpelstiltskin, Briar Rabbit. All of the Grimm's fairy tales were so scary. I told my mom, this is not for children. This should not be in our library. And she's like, well, you should say something if you believe in that. And I wrote a letter to the librarian. They did not listen to me. I don't think that reading and writing was escapism. I think it was like where I tried to actually engage with life and like understand it. People talk about reading like it's a superior form of media. I don't really think that. I think it's kind of not great to be superior in whatever art you consume, but it does leave a lot of room for your own mind to fill in the blanks, and it's like innately creative. Actually, my current desk is so similar to this. I'm gonna take it back out. Exactly this red. I think it's way easier to understand your past from a distance. I've made a record called Home Video, which was all about the past, and then the recent record, Forever is a Feelings, are more like present feelings. I'm very conscious of like myself when I'm old, and I feel like a lot of my motivating energy is like leaving myself gifts for later. So everything I've recorded is like, I'll probably listen to that someday and smile, I hope.
So this is an embroidered coat from Uzbekistan. It was made between 1850 to 1900. This coat was called a chapan. It was worn whilst conducting cultural rituals and ceremonies, often including weddings. The coats were often embellished with designs that reflected family heritage and social standing.
It's so old, I shouldn't be allowed to do this. It's cool to see some Uzbek fiber work. I'm half Uzbek, but I'm adopted and I don't know that much about Uzbekistan. Have some books and I'm in touch with some family members, but it's not like a culture that I hear a lot about in the States, or like if I go to a museum, it's like really rare to naturally encounter a piece of Uzbek history or culture. It feels impactful to see. Eee. Wow. Oh, I love the slightly uneven stitching. It's so cool. I wonder who wore this. Officiating weddings was a really cool experience on this past tour. I think we married over 300 people. We do the marriages during the song Best Guess, like right at the end during the song. I think it took like a minute and a half. Everyone would like dance and I'd give them a rose.
I now pronounce you married.
And then be like, okay, go live your life. I just saw when Trump took office, he came for trans rights so quickly, and there's, a lot of fear about people's rights being taken away, gay marriage maybe being under attack, and I live in LA now, and there's ICE raids and people are being taken from their homes, and it's a good way to start a citizenship process. And love is cool, and people who want to commit to each other, that's awesome. Many reasons to do it. I didn't wear anything this cool to officiate weddings. What would I do if I were to design something like this? My favorite colors are blue and green and red. I just got a heron tattoo, so maybe I'd have herons on my coat. I also really like the idea of like weeds as flowers because they're persistent. I feel like love shares qualities with weeds.
Is there anything else you wanted to?
I'll put it on.
Yeah, I was gonna say. These are pieces of Victorian mourning jewellery that were made between 1840 and 1860. They were made using the hair of loved ones who had died and were often worn by family members as public displays of their grief.
I just want to acknowledge if there's any spirits in these pieces. I come in peace. They feel a little haunted, which makes sense. But I do think that hair jewelry is awesome. I want that to come back as a style. Because also, let's stop mining for precious gems and let's figure out new ways to be showing our special affection to people. But I was just told also that hair jewelry was popular as a gift from children to mothers and between lovers, so it's not just mourning jewelry, but I would do this. Mourning someone, I would try and keep something. I'll admit to that. It says that the brooch is Sarah Pratt Sparks, born in 1825 and died in 1841. So she would have been 16. It's very sad. So thank you, Sarah, if you're here. This is beautiful. It says A for artiste en cheveux, artist in hair. All kinds of ornaments in hair, necklaces, crosses, earrings, etc. This is so cool. I'm super impressed by this. In planting tomatoes, or tomatoes if you live here, it's a lot about becoming older than people that you've lost and feeling grateful that you are still having a go and still allowing yourself to be touched by little miracles. It's important to keep that consciousness and still stay connected to your life. And for me, that's through all my little ideas that I have. Taking on a new interest or staying in touch with growing things. And I feel like it captures a thought process that I have every day. So I'm glad that it exists in a form that I can share. And I am thinking about my own death and life all the time and how I just want to be someone that I can be proud of by the end of all this. And I can say I really enjoyed a lot of things. I do have songs that are specifically for people that I have lost, and when I sing them, I think of those people. And I'm sure as my life goes on, there will be more such songs. But that's the price of caring. So I'm up for it. Oh my God, it's so big. I mean, yeah, everyone can see that. I love it.
This is a front cloth that was created for the Ballet Russes performance of Le Train Bleu in Paris, 1924. It was painted by Prince Alexander Chevasids and was a large-scale copy of Picasso's piece called The Two Women Running on the Beach. And apparently Picasso was so impressed with the copy that he came and signed it.
Picasso right here. What do I remember from ballet class? First position, second position, third, fourth? I know there's a fifth. Okay, I remember 1 through 4. My friends did ballet, so I did it with them. It was kind of mortifying. I was always like the taller, thicker friend. Also, I did tap. I love the blue. You can see like drips of it, like kind of sloppy moments. I studied some art history in college. I always really enjoyed it, and I loved how like most art movements are in reaction to what came before, and so you can just keep looking back, and that feels a lot like how humans are too. Like we're all reacting to our parents who are reacting to their parents, and I think history in general, having an interest in it is also an interest in your own place within a fabric of things. When I look at really old stuff and vast pieces of art, I feel like I'm so minuscule and like just one tiny little part of everything else. So it's humbling and it's really cool. Thinking about the feeling of performance, it does feel on its best days like you have tapped into something like God. I know that sounds kind of woo-woo. And it doesn't depend on who's watching. I think you can perform for yourself. I dance like this around my house, and I feel that connection to something inexpressible. I feel very lucky. Like on tour once a day, minimum, I'll have the feeling that I'm one with all, you know? But I also have that walking around, going on a good walk. A good walk is dancing.